Welcome back to my musical world. I hope you guys enjoyed the gaming videos I've put up over the past 2 days. But finally, whether you wanted it or not, I'm getting back to the musical side of things for a more recent album review. I don't want to go too far back. This just came out this week. Nicki Minaj, the Pinkprint. This is Nicki's third album, and I know she's technically a hip hop artist, but I've always kind of billed her as more of a pop artist because ever since her debut album, like, yeah, she raps on her songs, but it's always had more of like a pop sound to it, especially when you take into consideration her last album, Roman Reloaded, as more than half of it sounds like it could have been on a Rihanna album, to be perfectly honest. That doesn't mean it wasn't good, it's just it sounds more like pop instead of, hip hop, which is the genre she's supposed to be a part of. But now we come to the third album, which was promoted as being closer to more of the hip-hop style she originally came out with back with her mixtapes before her debut album. And I'm going to be honest, I've never heard a Nicki Minaj mixtape. I've never cared to listen to one. First thing I ever heard from her was Pink Friday, and I thoroughly enjoyed that album. This album, however, it definitely has more of a hip-hop feel to it than her previous two albums have. Like, Roman Reloaded was, for the majority of it, was pop. Pink Friday was hip hop, but the beats did have a little bit of a pop feel to it, especially on songs like Fly with Rihanna and Super Bass. But on this one, it's more of a hip hop feel, and what sets this one definitely, and in my opinion makes it better than her past two albums, is it's more personal and it's a more honest album. She's talking about very personal things on the album, whether it be breakup on the opening song All Things Go. She's talking about an abortion that she possibly had in her teenage years, losing her cousin to violence, and it's a very personal way to open the album. And it follows up with a ballad called I Lied. Now, at first hearing about the album, I heard the reactions to when the album leaked, and I heard the ballad on the album, and I was like, oh god, please tell me this isn't auto-tuned. But if it is auto-tuned, it's done very well, and her singing has gotten a lot better than it was on the last album, which, depending on the song you listen to off of Roman Reloaded, her singing was kind of made your teeth want to grind. But it's definitely a lot better on here, and it's definitely one of my favorite songs on here. My favorite track, though, anyone that knows me knows I am a huge Ariana Grande fan. So when I heard about their collab on this album, it was the first track that I immediately turned on upon buying the album. And Get on Your Knees with Ariana Grande, it is my favorite song from the album. And it's Nicki's rapping, it's Ariana's breathtaking vocals on the chorus and the bridge, and it's just one of those songs that immediately makes you want to keep it on repeat all day, and by the end of the day, you're going to be singing it whether it's playing or not. Let's see here. All the singles, most of them I've liked, but with the exception of Anaconda. Anaconda I hated upon it being released. I still hate it partially in this album. I hate it a little less, though, because when you hear it in the sequencing of the album, you kind of see where its place is in the album. It's just kind of like the fun song of the album, one of the fun songs of the album. And it makes me like it a little bit more, but still, I don't care to play it outside of the album like that unless it's the chorus. Like I've said it when the single came out. I like what's sampled in it, but as far as her verses, that trash could have been kept off of here. And truly, I think it's only on here because of how it did on the charts. And I'm going to leave it at that. The single highlights are still Pills and Potions, Bed of Lies with Skylar Grey. The song Only with Drake, Lil Wayne, and Chris Brown. It has a very nice placement on the album. It's kind of like from the Feeling Myself with Beyonce up through about track 8, which is Four Door. To me that's kind of like the braggadocious part of the album, and it fits really well in there. And I wasn't expecting to like this song because I'm not a huge Beyonce fan, but their collab Feeling Myself is actually a very, very well done song. Like I say, it's a braggadocious song, and what's cool about it is Nicki's trying different flows throughout the album, and even says on the song, just on this song alone, she's on her 4th flow, and you can hear the flow changes throughout the song in between Beyonce's choruses. And it's a very well done song, and I like it a lot more than I thought I was going to. Meek Mill turns up on the album for one appearance on the standard and a second if you have the deluxe edition on the album. The standard edition has the better of the two collabs by a heart, and I think it's better despite the auto-tune. Now, I don't enjoy Meek Mill using auto-tune, but for this song I let it slide because it's a very well done song. Both are sharing tales about love in the chorus over kind of a EDM beat for the chorus. It's very well done song, and I'm a sucker for pop music anyway, and definitely EDM type beats. I mean, I listen to people like David Guetta and Zed, so any type of EDM beat, I immediately a sucker for it. So while the album overall it's a very good album, but with me, I'm a very harsh music critic, very harsh album critic, and it still does have dud tracks. Like I've said, everyone knows how I feel about Anaconda. That opinion's never going to change. Favorite with Jeremiah is, it's not a bad song, but it's not a high point either. It's like the verses could be more well done, and what saves that song is Jeremiah's vocals on the chorus. Like I said, it's not a bad track per se, but it's definitely not one that's gonna blow you away right off the bat. And the song Trinity Them Girls, the verses on the song are alright, but what kills the song is what I don't even know what to call it on the chorus, and that's something you have to listen to for yourself. I play the song here, but I'd rather not have copyrights on my channel. But definitely the chorus is kind of what kills that song, but overall, that's really the only low points of it. And if you have the standard edition of the album, you got one hell of a closer in Grand Piano. I don't think I've ever heard a more personal song from Nicki Minaj, other than, well, My Cousins Played Me Autobiography. That's a very personal song too, but Grand Piano may be one of the most personal songs that I have ever heard from Nicki Minaj, and it's definitely one of her most well-sung songs. The entire song is sung only, there's no rap in it, but the singing is so wonderfully done on the song that it will blow you away, and it's definitely one of the favorite tracks on there. And being honest, the entire album, I think this is the best album that Nicki has put out since she debuted in 2010. That says a lot, because I, for the longest, said Pink Friday was the best thing that she's put out, because Roman Reloaded was a mixed bag of crud to me. And for this to be better than her debut, hats off to Nicki, because I did not think it would ever get better than the debut album, and I get proven wrong right here. As far as a rating, It's definitely a solid 8 out of 10 for me for this album. It's worth having in your collection, even if you're not a Nicki Minaj fan, and I know a lot of people aren't, depending on how you are with your hip-hop and rap. Give the album a shot. If you're into more honest music, this is definitely one to look at. But that's all I've got to say on the matter. Strangely Musical. Deuces.